Hey, this is Stu Schaefer, and I'm about to explain why you should not do intermittent fasting if you're a woman, especially if you're a woman over the age of 40, why it can actually be causing you to gain weight, feeling awful, and wrecking your body. So we're going to get into this. First, I'm going to talk about the side effects, and then I'm going to give you 4 specific things to do instead that will reset your body, reset your metabolism, and cause you to burn off body fat faster and easier than ever before. Let me show you a couple examples really quick. The first example I've showcased before because this woman, Cheryl, was in her 60s. She had been doing intermittent fasting and slowly wrecking her body, gaining weight, zero energy. As soon as we stopped doing the intermittent fasting, she started eating a lot more, especially carbs, which you've heard me talk about. The weight just melted off. Not only that, her energy came back and she felt the best she's felt since she was in her 30s. Let me give you another example though. I have a client named Christine. She did absolutely incredible. She's lost, I think, close to 40 pounds. And same thing, eating more meals, more often, not doing the intermittent fasting. And you can see just how quickly and how much her body just shrank. The fat just melted right off. So what happens when you're fasting, and why do I recommend not doing the intermittent fasting? Well, there's 4 main side effects. The first side effect is the stress or cortisol response. So what happens essentially is when you're not eating and you're doing these intermittent fasting routinely, this puts your body into a very stressed state. Well, ironically enough, a little bit of stress can be good. Cortisol is necessary to burn fat. The problem is when the cortisol levels go too high or they're elevated for too long, this actually will stop your body from burning fat. Oftentimes it'll cause you to burn muscle. That'll slow your metabolism down. Now, there's another thing that happens. When your cortisol is too high, your body won't be able to produce the hormones it needs to. Now, this is especially true with women over 40 because as you hit menopause, your ovaries shut down and now your adrenal glands are responsible for producing your hormones. If your cortisol levels are too high, those adrenal glands are going to be spending all their time and energy producing the stress hormones that they won't have enough bandwidth to produce the other hormones. So this will throw your hormones all way out of whack. All right, now the third thing that'll happen with this cortisol response is it'll eventually cause gut issues. Because as your adrenaline and cortisol go up, your body will release epinephrine, norepinephrine. This will take the blood flow away from your gut and it'll send it to your muscles and your brain. And what will happen is you will stop digesting correctly. This will eventually lead to a gut issue, and if you don't fix that, that will always lead to either an autoimmune disease or a chronic illness. So that's side effect number 1, and that's a big deal. Big deal. Side effect number 2 is your metabolism goes down. Well, one reason we just talked about is when your cortisol is too high, it can cause your body to eat away at your own muscle. That'll always slow down your metabolism. But there's other reasons, okay? Number 1, the thyroid. Okay, when your cortisol and your adrenaline are too high too often, this will drastically affect your thyroid for the worse. It'll slow it down. It may cause your reverse T3 levels to go up too high, or your free T3 levels to go too low, or a combination of both. And imagine the free T3 and reverse T3, they work in opposition. So if your reverse T3 goes up, that's the same as your T3 going down. So a lot of times women will get tested and their free T3 and T4 levels look fine, but they don't get the reverse T3 tested, and that'll go up when you're stressed. And sometimes then that'll counteract your metabolism, okay? The second is that when you're not eating, it puts you into starvation mode. And if the body just perceives that it's not eating, it's not getting enough, all it does is it slows itself down to match whatever's coming in. And so what happens is initially a lot of times when someone does fasting, they'll see some decent results. But then the results will slow down relatively quickly. And oftentimes then a person will start gaining weight. Well, they've just beat up their body. And so now you've set yourself up to gain the weight back. Now, the initial results are because cortisol initially is helpful for burning fat. These side effects, they don't kick in until a little bit later. All right. Now, the third thing is that your blood sugar becomes very unstable. So when you're not eating, that blood sugar dips. Okay, well, the body detects this dip. And so it releases certain hormones and goes through certain processes to get your blood sugar back up. Otherwise, it would drop too low and you would die. Okay, well, a couple things that might do it might eat away at your muscle. We've talked about that. And the other thing it will do is release a certain hormone that'll then start getting more glucose into the blood. Now, the problem with this is now when you eat something, it's like a pendulum effect, and the body overcompensates, and wham, now you create a blood sugar spike. So you're essentially creating dips and spikes all day instead of creating a nice, really leveled out blood sugar. Now, a lot of people these days think that the lower the blood sugar, the better, and that's not true. There's actually a very special zone that's actually slightly elevated. When your blood sugar is in that zone, your body will take the food that you're eating and put it into your muscles. That really helps with muscle toning and development, and it'll still be able to burn your stored body fat and can do it at the same time. And this is a very special zone. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But unstable blood sugar is a very bad side effect, which also causes more stress on the body. Okay, last, number 4 is when you're only eating a couple times a day. In order to get enough nutrients, you have to eat meals that are so big that you go over something called your nutrition threshold. Or in other words, you eat too much at once and the body can't handle all that food coming in all at once. And so it tends to store the excess as fat. This is just like vitamin C and pretty much all other vitamins. But if you take too much vitamin C, you don't absorb it. You pee it out. You absorb some of it and you pee out the rest. So if you had to take a bunch of vitamin C, the doctor would tell you take a little bit over each little serving over the course of the day. That way you could get more absorbed instead of peeing it all out. And the same is true for food. Exactly the same. How the body does one thing is generally how it does things with the other thing. So vitamins, foods, very similar. Okay, so that's why you really shouldn't do the fasting. It'll ultimately set you up to gain weight. But let's talk about 4 things that you absolutely need to do to reverse any damage from intermittent fasting and fire your body up to burn fat and lose weight. Number 1 is you got to eat more. Now, this sounds really weird, so let me clarify it. You want to eat more, but you have to do it a specific way. You have to eat the right food at the right time in the right combinations. Now, I've done a lesson about this. You can go check out that lesson. It's kind of outlines everything. But really, when you do it like that, when you eat the right food at the right time in the right combination, you're going to fuel your body in a way where none of the food that you eat actually makes it to your fat cells. It's going to be sent to your muscles. It's going to be sent to your liver. It's going to be sent to your brain. It's going to be sent to certain organs. You're going to put it off as body heat. And the body will be so efficient at using what you're eating, then you don't have to restrict. You don't have to reduce calories. You can actually eat more and burn off body fat. And this is called putting your body into the thermogenic state. This is what I do with all of my clients, and it works amazingly well. In fact, my clients can't believe how much food they eat and how much weight they lose, and it's all body fat. So number 1 is you have to eat more, but you have to do it correctly. If you just eat more and you don't do it correctly, this is when a lot of people run into problems. And everyone's a little bit different. So the right amount, the right type of food, the right combinations, that's very individualized. It's just like medicine. It's just like a prescription. Okay, if you go to a doctor, what he gives you would be different than what he gives someone else. It's all dependent on your body. And you really want to view food like medicine. You need an expert to really be able to prescribe the right system for you. Okay? All right, number 2 way to really rev up your metabolism, reverse the damage of fasting, and start losing weight quickly is you want to eat small, more frequent meals. Now, we talked about this, about the nutrition threshold, and it's just like vitamin C. If you needed to get 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C for whatever reason, there's no way you could take that all at once. you would have to divide it up into 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe even 10 little doses through the day to get your body to absorb that higher level without it just peeing it all out. And the same goes with food. If you dose it in smaller doses, it levels out your blood sugar, it lowers your cortisol, it lowers your appetite, it keeps everything so stable. This allows your hormones to stabilize, and it still allows you to burn fat, provided that you're eating the right food at the right time in the right combinations. Now, it's true if you eat the wrong food or you don't combine it correctly, then if you're eating more often, yeah, you could be causing more insulin and blood sugar spikes in that case, and that wouldn't be good. But if you do it correctly, you're going to keep your blood sugar in a very specific zone. You're going to cause certain enzymes and hormones to be released that otherwise wouldn't be released. You're going to avoid the blood sugar spikes and dips. You're going to lower your cortisol. You're going to put your body in a very specific fat burning state. And doing that with smaller, more frequent meals is appropriate. You just need to make sure those meals have the right food in the right combination and that you're timing them correctly. So it's a little bit more complex, but you ought to find someone, an expert who understands this, someone like a doctor who can prescribe the right formula and protocol for your body. All right. Now, number 3 is you've got to create the correct chemical reactions in your body. This is what we've been talking about. When you eat, say, an apple versus a banana, okay, now both of these things are fruits, but they're going to cause completely different chemical reactions in your body, even though they're both fruit, okay? Every different food is going to create a different and separate chemical reaction in the body. When you eat certain foods, they will create positive chemical reactions in the body that will cause you to have more energy. They will cause your muscles to tone. They will cause your body to burn fat. If you're eating the food with the negative chemical reactions, that will cause you to feel tired. It can cause brain fog. It can cause poor sleep. It can cause you to store fat. It can cause what you're eating to go straight to your fat cells, and none of it makes it to the muscles. And so it can make building muscle and getting toned much more difficult. And it's way more than just calories in, calories out. You want to view your body as a rainforest or an ecosystem. Every little thing you put in it is going to have a different and separate reaction. And this is why you have to approach this, whether it's health and weight loss or feeling good, things like that, as a holistic approach. Everything has to be in sync with everything else. You can't only focus on just one thing, like, oh, I'll just cut carbs, or I'll just count calories, or, oh, I'll just keep my blood sugar. I'll get a CGM and monitor your blood sugar. None of these things by itself will produce any great results. Everything has to work together, and this is why so many people fail, is they don't understand. These experts today are just reducing everything to one thing. Oh, calories in, calories out. Oh, just do your macros. Oh, just don't eat carbs, And it's just never that simple. The body is very complex. It's one of the most complex things in the whole universe, and you have to treat it like that. Now, lastly, the fourth thing you can do, the fourth thing you need to do in order to make all this work is you've got to do the right type of activity or exercise. So many people that I meet, they're doing the wrong type, or they're doing the wrong amount, or they're doing the wrong intensity. Well, let's just consider this. Intense training, high intensity training, plus you're fasting, plus you're doing low carb, and you're a woman over 50. Now, this is a recipe for disaster. Your poor adrenal glands won't know what to do. You need to do the right type of exercise, you need to do the right amount, and you need to do it at the correct intensity, and that activity or exercise has to match up with your food so they balance out, and it puts your body in this very harmonious state where we lower the cortisol, we speed up your metabolism, we get consistent blood sugar, and we never go over that nutrition threshold. When you do this, now all of a sudden, the body can use everything you're putting in it. It uses it correctly. It puts it in the right places in the body. It doesn't store it as fat. And all the while, you're able to burn fat very quickly. Your energy goes through the roof. You have no cravings, and your hormones naturally balance out because you're not overtaxing your adrenal glands. And that's called putting your body in the thermogenic state. That's why my clients are so successful. That's why they're able to eat so much more, and they don't have to restrict calories. And that's really the key for long-term success. Anything else is going to be short-term, and it's going to wreck your body over time, especially things like intermittent fasting. This is why you should do these things and not do the intermittent fasting. All right, on the next, we're going to splash up a couple videos right now. One's all about food, and one's also about balancing hormones. You're going to want to watch these great videos. I'll see you over on these videos, and hope this was helpful. All right, see you over there. Take care.